Don't worry. I'll handle this. And I'll give you a satisfying result. Is it okay?
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
What's up?
How long do we have to be here? What is inappropriate? Even in there, I didn't sell her out.
I know hitting someone is wrong, but I didn't just hit anyone. Shui Yiming did what he did. Shouldn't he be punished? No one's punishing him now. Didn't I have to do it?
Isn't this your dream? You worked so hard for years. Isn't it to make your dream come true? This is not just your own business. This is our whole family's business.
Want to look through this matter identity because the most affected are the young people.
I believe purpose is why you are here.
Okay.
Yes. At such a time as this, I'm going to bring Macy into the world, and she's going to have this assignment. She's going to carry this burden.
Oh.
So it is an assignment that has been given to us by God.
David served the purposes of God in his generation. No man will ever live to affect 2 generations.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports,
Drama! We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
to keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe!
Y254. Imagine.
Tonight, the Ministry of Health calls the U.S. policy review on global health a wake-up call for Africa. Also in this bulletin tonight, 3 of 8 escaped remandees in Wundanyi have been recaptured. Plus, we will tell you the government's position on social media concerns. But first, here are the highlights tonight. Kenya condemns the attack of its embassy in DRC by demonstrators protesting the invasion of the city of Goma by M23 rebels. Corruption shocker. EACC investigating theft of 100 billion shillings from government institutions. African Heads of State Energy Summit. 300 million people to be connected to the grid as leaders meet in Tanzania. And a 42-member anti-femicide task force sworn into office with worrying statistics in the last 6 months. It's raining in parts of the capital, but we want to warmly welcome you to the broadcast. My name is Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Thuku. My colleague Tom Boyer is away but will be back soon. Interact with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on X, YouTube and Facebook. Now, on to our lead story tonight. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has protested the attack on Kenya's embassy in Kinshasa by demonstrators protesting the invasion of the city of Goma by M23 rebels. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi called for the respect of international law as diplomats enjoyed inviolable protection. The embassies of Rwanda, France, Belgium and the United States were also attacked. This even as hundreds of people are admitted in hospital with gunshot wounds following gun battles between M23 fighters and Congolese government forces in Goma.
As the crisis in Goma, Eastern DRC continues to unfold, the Kenyan embassy staff in Kinshasa became victims of rioters' attacks by demonstrators who are accusing the international community of inaction. This has prompted a protest note by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that called on the Kinshasa regime to ensure the upholding of international law and guarantee the security of the foreign missions and their staff. Musalia Mudavadi says he has secured the assurance of his counterpart, Therese Kaikwamba Wagner, who promised to assess and compensate damages inflicted on the embassy. The protesters also descended on the Rwanda, France, Belgium, and the United States embassy. Meanwhile, Goma remains the scene of active gunfights, with hospitals now overwhelmed with injured persons seeking treatment. Hundreds of fatalities have been reported in the ongoing confrontation between the Congolese army and the M23 rebels. Thousands of people have been fleeing multiple active conflict zones. President William Ruto will on Wednesday convene an emergency meeting of the East Africa Region Heads of State Summit meant to discuss the situation in Eastern DRC.
President William Ruto Tuesday attended the African Heads of State Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, for the launch of an ambitious initiative aimed at connecting 300 million people in the continent to electricity in the next 5 years. The meeting aimed at accelerating Africa's electrification also brought together players in the energy sector and philanthropists.
President William Ruto on Tuesday left for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to attend the African Heads of State Energy Summit. The summit aimed at launching Mission 300, an initiative seeking to deliver affordable and sustainable power to more than half of the 600 million people in the continent currently without electricity by the year 2030. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who was the host, said the initiative is about empowering families, lifting millions out of poverty, providing hope and opportunities for the youth.
It is about our commitment to economic transformation, fostering industries, creating jobs and sparking innovation across Africa. And it is about realizing the promise of uplifting every African community.
Key partners in the new electrification drive include the World Bank Group, the African Development Bank Group, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the African Union.
Over the next decade, 360 million young people in Africa will be ready to enter the workforce. That same decade, the African system is expected to only offer jobs to 150 million of these, leaving 3 out of every 5 young people without the opportunity of a job, which gives you not just earning, but dignity.
The African Development Bank's $20 billion Desert to Power program will complement Mission 300 and develop 10,000 megawatts of solar power across 11 Sahelian countries and provide access to electricity for an additional 250 million people. Therefore, the Mission 300 and the Desert to Power working collectively will provide 550 million Africans with electricity.
The summit culminated in the heads of state and governments present signing the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration. On the sidelines of the summit, President Ruto held talks with UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohamed and discussed de-escalating the raging conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, Kenya's candidate for the African Union chair position, Raila Odinga, is attending the Africa Head of State Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where he is expected to lobby for support for his candidacy. Odinga on Tuesday met attending heads of state and government as his campaign for the position hits fever pitch. Here is that report.
Ahead of the African Union elections in 2 weeks' time, Kenya's candidate for the African Union Commission chairperson Raila Odinga intensified his campaign in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. During the summit, which brings together African leaders across the continent, focusing on advancing sustainable energy solutions for Africa, Odinga lobbied for support from African head of state and government attending the meeting. On Tuesday, he met Zambia's Hakainde Hichilema, Malawi's Lazarus Chakwera, Botswana's Gideon Boko, Burundi's Evariste Ndayishimiye, among others, in a bid to consolidate his support base in the continent. Though he was missing in the meeting chaired by President William Ruto on Monday, bringing together 5 heads of state to discuss African Union reform, President Ruto is said to have sought the support of visiting leaders. Raila will face off Madagascar's Foreign Affairs Minister Richard Mandria Mandrato and Djibouti's Foreign Affairs Minister Mohamed Ali Yusuf. His campaign emphasizes on the importance of Pan-African unity, economic integration, and addressing energy challenges. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Back home and onto graft concerns, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is actively investigating corruption cases amounting to over 100 billion shillings in government institutions and county governments. In an investigation summary report for the financial year 2023-2024, the Commission indicated that it received 5,171 reports, out of which 534 cases are under review, with 25 classified as high-impact cases. The report also indicates that 25 former and current governors are on the Commission's radar.
The voluminous report from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has exposed rot within the 2 levels of government, with bribery topping the index.
The forms of corruption, you can note from the graph that bribery still stands as the most prevalent form of corruption.
The anti-graft body has adversely mentioned 9 institutions whose systems it claims are prone to misuse. During the launch of the financial statement for the year 2023-2024, EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud confirmed that sleuths have been dispatched to the Kenya Revenue Authority, Port Health Services at the JKIA, National Police Service, Ministry of Land Registries, Kericho Referral Hospital, NTSA, Kenhawe Bridges, and Nairobi City County Government, where integrity tests will be conducted on their systems.
Even if those institutions they always talk whenever we do the surveys in the corruption perception survey, we will not give up. It is our job to ensure that we keep on pushing together with the management of those institutions so that we reduce the levels of corruptions in those institutions.
As per the document, the Commission received 5,171 reports and picked 534 cases for investigations, classifying 25 as of high impact in nature. Topping the list is the misappropriation of 26.5 billion shillings at Tana Athi Water Works Development Agency in the award of tenders for Ruiru 2 Water Project, Karimenu Water Project and Kitui Matu Water Project. Second on the list is the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation KBC that is being investigated over allegations of a 19.2 billion shilling irregular engagement in the financial year of 2005-2006 and termination of a joint venture between KBC and Channel 2 Group Corporation in 2009 that led to the arbitral claim of $150 million in the year 2012. Closing off the top three is the Kenya Railways 8 billion shilling staff retirement benefit scheme, which sleuths are investigating allegations of irregular disposal of land measuring 139 acres in Makongeni, Nairobi County by the Chief Executive Officer in the year 2021-2022 and 2022-2023. The 212-page report also indicates that EACC is on the trail of 25 former and sitting governors over allegations of bribery, economic crimes and unethical conduct. In the devolved units, the county government of Kajiado is being investigated for the loss of 2.3 billion shillings of tenders awarded to various companies associated with top officials from the devolved unit. Nairobi City County government is second with misappropriation of 93.4 million shillings of public coffers for irregular payments to 13 companies for non-delivery of goods or services during the financial year 2022-2023.
We have observed an emerging trend and pattern where public officials are enrolling the members of their families, their children, their wives, their husbands, their relatives, to be their proxies in stealing from the public.
During the period under review, the Commission forwarded 126 investigation files on corruption, economic crimes and unethical conduct to the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, recommending prosecution of suspects, out of which 104 were recommended for prosecution, 8 for administrative action and 14 for closure due to decision delay. The anti-graft body has further recovered corruptly acquired assets and unexplained wealth held by public officers worth over 2.9 billion shillings. The Commission also filed 47 new civil suits to recover assets estimated at 9.2 billion shillings.
Morality and ethics in society refuse to be silenced by receiving proceeds of corruption as donations to your religious institutions and programs, projects. And when we receive some of these donations and contributions, we need to find out how it was all acquired.
Abdiaziz Oshim for Prime Edition.
Glad you're watching Prime Edition. We are taking our first commercial break. We'll be back with more details with the clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kesho yangu mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Wellness is important in our daily lives so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. People don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
was messed up.
You need to tell me the truth.
I did help your dad find the guy.
And?
Then your dad did the rest.
Alex, you're a pathological liar.
The earlier you tell her, the better.
Don't tell her anything.
Nilinotice anategea hizo pesa zako za insurance.
Joshua si mtu mzuri.
I have to give it to you. I'm not sure whether you're not greedy or you're just not ambitious.
Mind your business. Kama ile gani ilipatikana sile ulitumia, ilitoka wapi?
Hebu waambie kuhusu ile gani yenye ulinunua after Jabali ameatakiwa.
What?
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Continue interacting with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on X, YouTube and Facebook. Let's now turn to Health Watch. Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Baraza now says the Ministry of Health is thoroughly scrutinizing areas that might be affected by the recent executive order signed by U.S. President Donald Trump for appropriate interventions. According to Baraza, the move by Trump to review U.S. policy on global health is a wake-up call for African countries to embrace local solutions. Some of the areas affected by Trump's executive order include AIDS relief and TB funding.
Speaking during the East Africa Region Global Health Security Summit, the Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Baraza reiterated that the COVID-19 pandemic served as an eye-opener to African countries on the need to upscale the healthcare systems.
This summit is a call to action. It is a call to move forward and translate our commitments into tangible results. Let us embrace the spirit of partnership and solidarity as we work towards a common goal. A region that is better prepared, more resilient, and capable of withstanding future health challenges.
Participants noted the need to seal the gaps in the healthcare sector, which includes trained human resource, need to purchase modern equipment and infrastructure.
It's also an opportunity to begin to look at the workforce, where we have critical gap. As you are all aware, there is no health without workforce. So hence the need for us to really use this opportunity to revisit that agenda of strengthening the health workforce as far as the East Africa region is concerned.
We all know the environment we are in, the context we are in, so it's critical to strategically think about ways of mobilizing resources, securing resources to make sure that our health challenges are addressed.
We have equipped over 110,000 workers with devices that have been manufactured in Kenya. That also represents another critical pillar, local manufacturing, local jobs, and also affordable devices that can be put in the hands of health workers to allow them to provide healthcare universally across the country seamlessly.
We need to have resilient systems. This includes having universal health coverage that is affordable, accessible, quality care to all, as well as having components of health security strengthened.
The CS at the same time said Kenya was perusing to identify areas that might have been affected by the recent executive order signed by the USA President for appropriate interventions.
As the Ministry of Health, I have tasked the various state departments, the various programs and directors that have been involved or that will be affected by this, so that we can be able to map out and look at the impact in matters finances, in matters human resource, etc. And with this, we'll come up with a concrete way forward in terms of interventions, of which we'll be able to share with the Cabinet, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, and see how we can move forward in matters intervention.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
From Health Watch to yet another story we teased for you at the beginning of this bulletin. 3 of 8 remandees who escaped from Undanyi Prison in Taita Taveta County have been recaptured. Commissioner General of Prisons Patrick Arandu says the government heightened efforts to recapture the remaining 5. Arandu, who spoke in Rachonyo GK prison while officiating the handover of an administration block constructed by the Karachonyo NGCDF, described the escape as a regrettable incident and assured the public that appropriate action had been taken against errant officers said to have been involved. Arandu, in the meantime, says the government is committed to work tirelessly to improve the welfare of prison wardens.
The building where they were contained, they did cut through the roof and scaled the wall and jumped across and escaped from the facility. This is not a regular kind of an incident, and we have taken administrative action against those who are concerned, and it's ongoing because we have also involved the DCI to carry out investigations to ensure that such an occurrence does not reoccur again.
We are quite out to do what our responsibility requires. In my responsibility, I cover security. And, prisons is part of the security system. That's how we open the door to the prisons to have a facility built by us.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo says the government has no plans to switch off social media. Kabogo, who was in Eldoret, said even though the government emphasizes free speech, there should be some sense of responsibility by social media users. Here is that report.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo was in Eldoret City for the annual Data Privacy Conference. The CS maintaining that the government does not intend to interfere with social media.
Many have been told Kabogo says he'll interfere with social media. I have no business interfering with social media. Hiyo ni zile propaganda tu za wale watu hawana kazi ya kufanya.
Despite citizens enjoying freedom of expression, Kabogo called for responsible use of the various platforms.
Unajua mimi ukinibandika kwa jeneza saa hii na hii kipara yangu, I don't care. Let's just be honest. You'll be wasting time. And remember, you have the right to express yourself. It's enshrined in our Constitution. But your right stops where the right of the other person starts.
He urged social media users to use the platform to engage in constructive criticism.
Let us create the discussion online. I will open the portals of our ministries so you engage government directly.
He said that his main objective is to deliver on his mandate.
Mimi niko na kazi nimepatiwa ya kufanya na ni kuweza kueneza internet kila mahali Kenya na iweze kupatikana kwa njia ya rahisi. Hata sokoni, hata kwa bus stop. The president says, Kabogo, go and get Kenya connected, and that's the job I will do, and I will do it properly.
On politics, the CS downplayed claims of division in the Mount Kenya region.
Mlima haina shida. Mimi nitaenda mlimani baadaye na nitatumana salamu za Mheshimiwa Rais na zitapokewa. Haiwezekani kamwe wewe ukue jikoni mahali kunapikwa, alafu ukishafurushwa umetoka nje ya jikoni unaanza kusema unajua huyu bwana alikuwa anapika sumu ananipatia niwapatie.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
The government has committed to enhancing funding for the Technical Vocational Training Institute in a move aimed at ensuring learning is not hampered. Speaking after presiding over the signing of the performance contracts for the semi-autonomous agencies under the Ministry of Education, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba said that TVETs are key players in the economic transformation agenda. He, however, warned the officers against lethargy, even as he urged them to redouble their efforts to improve the performances of their institutions.
We are collectively and individually accountable for the performance of our institutions and must lead our institutions to re-engineer their business processes and transform them. You are aware that we need to entrench the government's commitment to better National Education Strategic Plan and other national and sector policy priorities as well as regional and international commitments.
Because what we are going to do is not just a ritual. Because sometimes when we reflect back and say we missed the 21st cycle of performance contracting, sometimes it sounds like it's a ritual. But it is not a ritual. I think it is what we commit ourselves to do for the future.
This ceremony underscores our resolve to meet key sector targets in a timely manner and to position TVET sector as a cornerstone of Kenya's economic transformation.
Thank you. Congratulations to NATCO. Let's give them a...
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongwe mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini?
Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa?
100,000 Kenya inch TV. 1,000 Kenya Yes!
Ulinistaki na mastakikani.
Ukuelewa?
Sikuelewa na
Sikiza basi.
Uisome na Kisungu. Kwani tuita mtu kipara? Is it a crime?
It is a crime.
It's not a crime kwa sababu si yeye mwenyewe ana nywele mheshimiwa. Am I Nyanguni?
No.
Who broken?
I don't know.
Who wewe si wewe unauliza ati wewe ndio nauliza Dr. Yasmin.
Kizungu mbona ongea?
Hii Kizungu ni yako, ni wewe ndio ulinifundisha. I'm asking you again. Did I come for you to inject me?
No.
No. So, what you need from me?
I don't need anything from you. I'm just giving
Can
my
you walk
statement.
out, please? Go out.
Wewe.
Sasa mimi amesema wewe alikuwa anagonga alafu mimi akasuia.
Ale toka hapo Msomali, toka hapo.
Wewe. Tena wacha kutumia hiyo jina hiyo lugha ya Msomali.
How can you treat people like that? Calling and insult people Kisungu nauliza tu swali moja.
Uliza.
Yesu ni mkabila gani?
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Now, on to one of the issues that many Kenyans would want to hear of. 100 women have been killed in the last 6 months in reported incidents of femicide. In shocking statistics of the reality of femicide, 15 of the 100 have been killed in the months of January 2025. Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo has called for multi-stakeholders interventions to safeguard the safety and welfare of women in the country. He spoke during the swearing-in of the 42-member task force appointed by President William Ruto to provide institutional, legal and policy framework to curb the menace.
In what illustrates the Herculean task confronting the Nancy Baraza-led 42-member task force, the Interior Ministry says 100 women have been killed in the last 6 months.
For the last 6 months, the country has recorded more than 100 cases of femicide.
And in the month of January, 15 young women have been reported dead, some in incidents of love turned sour.
And sadly, this month alone, 15 women and girls have lost their lives through GBV.
Separate statistics from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights show that 97 cases of femicide were reported from August to November 2024.
Those who commit these heinous crimes impact on our society directly, since the victims are our mothers, daughters, sisters, and nieces. Femicide in Kenya must end.
The task force was sworn in on Tuesday.
Or prejudice. So help me God.
So help me God. Marking the beginning of the daunting task of not only identifying solutions to the worrying trend, but also formulating a legal and policy framework to guide government's intervention and the quickening of prosecutions of perpetrators.
We pledge to execute our mandate with precision,
and professionalism, to provide the country with proposals that will offer a lasting solution to the issue of gender-based violence, including femicide.
Former Deputy Chief Justice Nancy Baraza, who will chair the task force, called for collaborative efforts by stakeholders.
We urge all Kenyans to come forward and share their expertise and insights. Only by working together can we create a safe society for boys and girls, men and women.
Any country that a child or woman cannot walk around freely is not a free country yet.
Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo also calling for a holistic and balanced approach in tackling GBV by delving into underlying social and cultural issues.
There are existing gaps in the prevention, response, investigations, prosecution, data management, as well as survivor support systems in GBV and femicide cases.
The task force is domiciled under the Office of Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and will submit its report in 90 days. Having been sworn in, the 42-member task force has been given the legal mandate to assess, review and recommend necessary measures aimed at curbing the escalating cases of gender-based violence and femicide in the country. John Kahiro, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Right, on to other developments tonight. Environmental conservationists under the umbrella of Community Voluntary Development Network Association Eastern Region are calling for collaborative actions in tackling matters of climate change. The group says there is lack of proper awareness among the public on the importance of conserving the environment and planting trees as a way of cushioning the impacts of climate change. Now, this and other stories in the County News Roundup.
Led by Community Voluntary Development Network Association Coordinator Eastern Region Augustus Kilonzi during the Tree Growing campaign walk, the environmentalists noted that the majority of the arid and semi-arid regions in the country suffer from the impact of climate change due to the large bare lands.
Tumekuwa na changamoto ya mvua mara kwa mara, na saa hii elia kama ya kwetu Matinyani, kienda pale hatuwezi kosa chakula kukula. Kila mwaka huwa tunapata chakula juu ya mabadiliko ya hewa. Kuna elia zingine ambazo sasa tumeanza kuingia like Mwingi, unaweza pata elia ni kapu kabisa, ni jangwa. Kienda Mtomo, kienda Ikudha, utapata kuna elias ambayo hakuna miti kabisa. Najua ni kali sana.
Meanwhile, Nyandarua County Government, University of Nairobi and the Commission for University Education have held their final deliberations on the plans to set up a constituent college of the University of Nairobi in the county.
It is our expectation that before the end of this year, if all goes well, COOPS will be able to give us students, and Nairobi University are ready with the staff who will be manning the institution.
Elsewhere, police in Kakamega County are investigating an incident where a decomposing body of a middle-aged man was discovered in a bush on the outskirts of Kakamega town with some body parts missing. Residents say the deceased, who was reported missing 2 weeks ago, may have been overcome by illness and fell into a ditch.
Huyo mwili, huyo ambaye amekufa pale, kuna gunia iko kando yake. Na mwili wake upande ya juu kuna hana nguo.
And individuals battling chronic reproductive health conditions in the Waondo area of Homa Bay County are said to benefit from a health center founded by an endometriosis survivor. Ngakia Waondo Health Center, founded by Edith Amondi, who endured endometriosis for over 14 years, aims to fill gaps in awareness, diagnosis and care for reproductive health issues.
We could educate our people to create the awareness and also to treat them, because we have so much ongoing, and as a country, number one, we didn't have right connection, or rather we didn't have enough data, or rather the right data to the Ministry of Health for those of us that are undergoing the chronic conditions.
Finally, healthcare providers in the Navakulo area of Kakamega County, led by Private Hospitals Association Chairman Dr. Brian Lishenga, have declared the low uptake of the Social Health Insurance Fund due to networking challenges. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Let's now shift to the corridors of justice. A Dutch national convicted for defilement in Netherlands wanted deportation request by Dutch authorities halted, claiming to be under treatment for a terminal illness. Jacobus Brewer, who was arrested last week, told the court that he can't stand trial at the moment as he is too weak and requires around-the-clock medical attention. He has been remanded at the industrial area prison pending a medical examination report. Details of this and others in the Scales of Justice segments.
The government of Kenya received a request from the Kingdom of Netherlands last week to extradite Brewer to go serve jail term for defilement in the year 2020. Appearing before trial magistrate Ben Makehubi on Tuesday, Brewer applied to stay the deportation request.
Let him undergo the test, Your Honor. It doesn't prejudice the state. It prejudices him more, since this is actually a natural person.
His counsel informed court that his client has a terminal illness that is at an advanced stage and was therefore unable to stand trial. The prosecution, however, vehemently opposed the application, accusing Brewer of employing delay tactics to forestall the impending deportation.
They should not be entertained, and we should proceed with this application today.
He will be remanded at Industrial Area Prison until Monday, 3rd February, with a medical examination report expected to be availed to the magistrate on the material day.
Basically, so that he can be examined by a doctor, also including a government doctor, for a second opinion, and then we can take an early date so that we can entertain the state's application.
Elsewhere, a businessman has denied 4 counts of forging a board resolution from a company trading as SC and Others Limited. The accused, Philip Okeobure, was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Susan Shitubi, has been ordered to deposit a bond of $500,000 shillings pending trial.
Or in the alternative, a cash bail of 200,000 plus 1 contact person. Prosecution to supply the defense copies of all documents to be used.
And a city car dealer, Khalif Cairo, was rearrested Tuesday outside the Milimani Law Court shortly after he had appeared in court for another case. The rearrest came as DCI officers indicated they were investigating claims related to his car business. He was taken to DCI headquarters for interrogation. At Rumuruti Locus in Laikipia County, a suspect, Rufus Kiara David, has been charged with 4 offenses of defrauding by forging a land transfer documents. The court was informed by the complainant, Christine Wangari Gashege, through her lawyer, that Kiara knowingly uttered land transfer instruments which purported to have been made by Christine without lawful authority.
Both parcels of land were in my name. Yeah, me, surprised. They told me, but you have even also sold them.
Kiara, being a person employed in the public service as an assistant county commissioner, is also accused of abuse of authority by selling the parcels of land at Sipili Donyoloip in Laikipia. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongwe mkungi. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini?
Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa?
100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV! 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Well, then, what do we do with this film?
Don't worry, I'll handle this. And I'll give you a satisfying result. Is it okay?
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
What's up?
How long do we have to be here? What is inappropriate? Even in there, I didn't sell her out.
I know hitting someone is wrong, but I didn't just hit anyone. Shui Yiming did what he did. Shouldn't he be punished? No one's punishing him now. Didn't I have to do it?
Is it this your dream?
You worked so hard for years. Isn't it to make your dream come true? This is not just your own business. This is our whole family's business.
Ni kuvuka mpaka. Nitavuka hadi boda. Muni, makinika. Kwa jua au kwa mvua, tusitafutane. Utalaumiwa wewe.
Mimi siogopi lawama.
Ondoka, wewe. Ondoa marondo yako hapa.
Ukweli upi?
Kalume amekuja kuniambia mimba ulionayo ni yake.
Nini?
Ningependa turudi kama ilivyokuwa zamani. Tushirikiane.
Kwa lipi?
Muone maadui zangu wanatumia huko kutengana kwetu kuniangusha mimi.
Well, thank you for staying with us. You are still watching Prime Edition, and top in business news tonight, part of the levy reintroduced on key cash crops will be used to support the fertilizer subsidy program to make it sustainable and extend its coverage to more small-scale farmers. Here is Benson Rioba with the details.
The fertilizer subsidy was allocated 10 billion shillings in the current financial year. Players in the agriculture sector say the amount is not sufficient, hence the need to raise additional funds to support the fertilizer subsidy program kitty. This could be through levies to some key crops.
Or a tax, where else to tax for the benefit of our farmers. I know we have got different commodities like sugar, like coffee, like tea, which sometimes we had proposed that let there be a small levy from these particular crops so that it's able to be plowed back into the input for it.
They are calling for a review of some taxes on companies handling fertilizer to reduce the cost of production.
There is some research that shows that agriculture withholding taxes and maybe also levies certainly have a negative impact on farmers in the short run.
They also want farmers to adopt sustainable and modern farming technologies that involve use of organic fertilizer, economic land use, intercropping and lime use.
I think one of the way to ensure that we move forward with fertilizer is to ensure that we have all our soils tested so that we optimize on the requirements as opposed to putting a blanket recommendations.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now to some interesting developments. Kenya Airways is under investigation by the COMESA Competition Commission over unfair conduct following complaints from 4 passengers for failing to rebook them to their destination following a flight delay in Lusaka, Zambia in August 2024. The COMESA Competition Commission is calling on passengers affected by the incident to submit their presentations by 28th of February 2025.
4 passengers scheduled to board Kenya Airways traveling from Entebbe to Nairobi on their way to Livingstone in Zambia on 18th of August 2024 experienced an unexpected delay of their flight at Entebbe International Airport for over 6 hours, causing a disruption to their connecting flights. As a result of the delay, the passengers missed their connecting flights from Nairobi to Lusaka on Kenya Airways and Lusaka to Livingstone on Zambia Airways, scheduled on the same day. The COMESA Competition Commission says the passengers reported that they were forced to make their own arrangements to obtain a rerouting to their destination. They also lodged a complaint about not being offered accommodation and meals on landing in Lusaka, despite their original connecting flight having already departed. In the notice of commencement of investigations, the COMESA Competition Commission said it is concerned that Kenya Airways may have engaged in unconscionable conduct, which may not be in line with the code of practice in the industry, as well as other international conventions governing the aviation industry. The Commission is also investigating Zambia Airways over allegations of denying customers their right to redress in a flight delay that was occasioned by the airline. The complaints were made by 4 passengers who missed their connecting flights in Lusaka due to the late departure of Zambia Airways, which was delayed for 6 hours, causing them to miss their connecting flights on landing at Lusaka. Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition.
Well, if you've been following international news, you have come across this story, and shares of chip maker NVIDIA, the poster child of the AI boom in recent years, tanked by 17% downwards, wiping out up to $593 billion from the chip maker's market value, a record one-day loss for any company. This comes after free AI assistant launched by Chinese startup DeepSeek spurred investors to dump tech stocks globally, with ripple effect from Tokyo to Amsterdam to Silicon Valley garnering attention worldwide.
NVIDIA and Oracle were among several big tech losers as DeepSeek presented a ChatGPT-like AI model called R1, which has all the familiar abilities, operating at a fraction of the cost of OpenAI's, Google's, or Meta's popular AI models. The company said it had spent just $5.6 million on computing power for its base model, compared with the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars US companies spend on their AI technologies. This claim has, however, been disputed by others in the AI industry. The app, which was rolled out on January 20th, 2025, has shot to the top of Apple Store's downloads, quickly impressing AI geeks before it got the attention of the entire tech industry and the world. Its emergence comes after the US has been restricting the sale of advanced chip technology that powers AI to China. According to a paper authored by the company, DeepSeek R1 beats the industry's leading models like OpenAI 01 on several math and reasoning benchmarks, giving Western AI giants a run for their money. This even saw US President Donald Trump call the rise of the Chinese company DeepSeek a wake-up call for the US tech industry after the emergence of its artificial intelligence model triggered shockwaves on Wall Street. Over in the US, Broadcom finished down by 17.4%, while ChatGPT backer Microsoft fell by 2.1% and Google parent Alphabet closed down by 4.2%. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index stumbled by 9.2% for its deepest percentage drop since March 2020. The sell-offs by various tech companies has shed light into the crowded positioning among investors and the billions of dollars US tech giants are pouring into developing AI capabilities, as well as the extremely high valuation of some of these firms. For DeepSeek, the company says it has embraced open source methods, pooling collective expertise and fostering collaborative innovation. This approach not only mitigates resource constraints, but also accelerates the development of cutting-edge technologies, setting DeepSeek apart from more insular competitors. Nduta Mokami for Prime Edition.
And we'll be following up on that story tomorrow to see why NVIDIA investors are spooked by the Chinese AI upstart DeepSeek. Now, moving on and coming back to the country, a section of traders from Isibili town in Kajiado are urging the county and the national government to expedite the construction of a new market to accommodate other lines of business apart from livestock. The traders, made up of mostly women dealing in beadwork who shifted from livestock trade due to the impact of drought, say market would offer access to customers.
This is the state of Ilbisil town. Business activities in its main market slowed to a trickle, with patrons few and far in between. Here, after the town was previously ravaged by drought, the women of the area sought a new way of making money.
Anakuja hapa bisi shauri ya shida, mambo yangu imeisha, nakuja kutengeneza kitu hapa bisi, hakuna biashara, nakaa tu.
Sisi wamama wa bisi tumeumia. Tegemeo yetu ilikuwa ng'ombe, ambayo kiangazi ilikuja ikamaliza ng'ombe na mbuzi, ambayo ilikuwa kitega uchumi ya hapa bisi. Sasa Kenya tunategemea soko kubwa kama wamama na kusaidia watoto kwa manyumba ni ushanga.
Ilbisil town used to have the largest livestock market in Kajiado County, with livestock crossing over from the country from Tanzania. However, the market has no toilet amenities, as the town depends only on water from county boreholes, some of which have experienced a drop in water levels due to drought. Now, the traders in the market are appealing for help in revamping this market to enhance trade.
Asa wale wanaumia wakina mama, ninaomba sana serikali kama inawezekana irudishe ile soko yetu iwe kawaida. Wakati hii soko inaendelea kila siku, tunaona biashara yetu iko nzuri.
These women now hope that the once flourishing trade in this remote town along Namanga Road, with no more than a handful of women making artifacts, will thrive once again with the once weekly Ushanga Market Day.
And that wraps up our business news for tonight. More stories on our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Odim Mujenga. Have a good night. Tomorrow is another day.
Thank you, Raymond Jenga, for the business bit. Now, in the world of sports, 2 sections have been introduced and a spectator stage added to the 2025 WRC Safari Rally Kenya to give more rally enthusiasts a chance to witness the entire event from start to finish, including the prize-giving ceremony. An estimated 70,000 fans are expected at this year's 3rd leg of the World Rally Championship, which will be held from the 20th to 23rd of March in Nairobi and Naivasha.
With only 50 days to go to the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya met with the local leaders today in Naivasha to find ways of ensuring the youth in Naivasha benefit from the annual 4-day event.
We have a formidable youth participation in many of the activities, that will take place here in Naivasha, and I have directed that all the opportunities that will be available for, short-term employment, the people of this area, the youth of this area, should be given priority. I have also directed that we have another lower-level team that will be working directly with the local people here and the local leaders and the county governments to be able to resolve some of the issues that are here on the ground, including matters on environmental protection.
An estimated crowd of 70,000 fans are expected at the World Rally after the introduction of another spectator stage and 2 additional sections of Morendat and Cap Moran on the route that will no longer have the Malewa section. The Safari Rally Kenya is the 3rd leg on the WRC World Series and comes after Rally Sweden, which will be held from 13th to 16th of February. In addition to the minor route changes, some sections of the route will be run in reverse to make the course challenging to the drivers who will compete at the Safari Rally Kenya that has been rated as the best leg on the WRC calendar.
Kenya is number 1 in this sporting activity, and we want to maintain that profile because Safari Rally is not just Safari Rally watching the cars competing, but we have greater benefits of profiling our country for investment and trade and many other advantages that we get when we positively profile our country. So this World Rally Championship this year is one of those bigger opportunities that is going to put Kenya on the global map.
An additional 14th leg has also been added to the series this season, the Rally Saudi Arabia, which will be the last leg to be held on the 27th to 30th of November after Rally Japan. Sebastian Oje, who has won a record 8 WRC titles, leads the driver's standings after he won the season opener, the Rally Monte Carlo, that was held from the 23rd to 26th of January this year.
Lack of dialogue is a major challenge facing Kenyan sportsmen and women in conflict-related situations, hence the need to create a platform for dialogue among the stakeholders in the sports ecosystem to address the issue. This was the clarion call today during the National Olympics Committee of Kenya Today Gender Conference that started in Nairobi Hotel, as Daniel Mwendwa reports.
Speaking during the event, NOC Secretary General Francis Mutuku stated that the conference is touching on many dynamics, among them the status of gender in sports and how they will work with federations to ensure they create a mutual working relationship.
We feel that a lot of things have just been said, but there is no solid actions which have been taken. So what we've done, we've gone beyond sports. A lot of our facilitators are people who know sport, but they are not in the sports industry. They're able to come and share their own experiences, their own learning.
Mutuku also raised concerns about the rising cases of gender-based violence witnessed in sports, adding that they will continue to work on ways to curb the vice that has seen a number of athletes lose their lives.
People are sharing their own experiences, so now they have been able to break barriers. I think this afternoon and tomorrow people will be given personal experiences about how the environment was and how they were able to break the barrier so it can motivate more people.
NOC has spearheaded a number of activities aimed at addressing challenges of women in sports to ensure inclusivity. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Reigning champions Kenya Pipeline are set to defend their title at this year's CAVB Zone 5 Club Championship, scheduled to take place from the 26th February to the 4th of March at the Lugogo Indoor Stadium in Kampala, Uganda. Kenya Pipeline are the sole representative from Kenya in the competition, which will feature 14 teams, 7 men's teams and 7 women's teams. Hosts Uganda will field 8 teams, having secured the rights to host the event through a formal bidding process by edging out Rwanda. This will be the first regional tournament since Uganda's Sadiq Nasibu assumed leadership of the regional body following the 2024 CAVB Congress in Morocco, where he succeeded Rwanda's Fernand Ruterana. Forty-seven players have been called up to the Kenya Simba's rugby team residential training camp in Kakamega to prepare for their Rugby World Cup qualification. The squad consists of, among others, Andrew Nasmiu of the University of Johannesburg, Malvin Thairu of SCM Rugby, Timi Soara, Barry Young, Teddy Akala, John Kubu, and Ephraim Udwor of Kabras. Griffin Musila, Brian Wahinya, and Eric Miheso have been called up from KCB together with Menengai Oilers, Amos Obaye, and Samson Onsomo. Charles Omondi is among the 3 players drawn from the Nondis, while the others are Wiseman Angaya, Paul Mutsami of Kenya Harlequins, and Obat Kuke of Black Blood. Simbas are scheduled to take part in the Rugby Africa Cup in Uganda in July this year, where the winner will qualify for the 2027 Rugby World in Australia, while the runners-up will make another attempt at the repechage playoff. The stage is set for what promises to be a thrilling 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after the final draw was conducted last night in a glittering ceremony attended by African football legends at Mohammed V National Stadium in Rabat.
The ceremony started with the performances from various musicians, including, among others, Redwan, Harim Amo, and Norman Lalu, before the actual draw was conducted, where all the 24 teams were drawn in groups of 6 with 4 sides each. Group A is led by 2 times Africa Cup of Nations champions and host Morocco, who will be joined by 1992 runners-up Mali, who also finished 3rd in 2012 and 2013, Zambia, who won in 2012, and Comoros, who are back in the continental showpiece since 2021 when they were eliminated in the round of 16. Egypt will be chasing their 8th title in the upcoming edition, where they will be the Long Ranger from North Africa against a trio of South African teams in Group B, namely last year's bronze medalist and 1996 champion South Africa, perennial quarter-finalist Angola, and Zimbabwe, who have most exited the group stage before a 4th finish in 2014. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, who are 3 times African Cup of Nations champions, headlines Group C, where they will meet the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, who won the 2011 edition, and the East African duo of Uganda and Tanzania. The 2021 champions, Senegal, have been drawn in Group D against Leopards of Democratic Republic of Congo, who are 2 times champions, Benin, who reached the quarterfinals in 2019, and Botswana, who will be making their second appearance since their debut in 2012.
Algeria.
The 2019 champions Algeria will face 2013 runners-up Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, who finished 4th in 2015, and Sudan, who won in 1990 in what looks like to be an exciting Group E. And finally in Group F, the defending champions Côte d'Ivoire have been paired with the rivals Cameroon, who are 5-time champions, Gabon, who have reached the quarterfinal twice, and Mozambique, who have never gone past the group stage. The 2025 African Cup of Nations will be held from the 21st of December this year to 18th of January next year in Morocco, where the host will kick off against Comoros.
And that marks the end of Prime Edition tonight. On behalf of the entire team behind this broadcast, thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. Earlier on, we had Odim Njenga with the business news. My name is Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Tuku. Good night. God bless you.
You need to tell me the truth.
I did help your dad find the guy.
And?
Then your dad did the rest.
Alex, you're a pathological liar.
The earlier you tell her, the better.
Don't tell her anything.
Nili notice anategea hizo pesa zako za insurance.
Joshua si mtu mzuri.
I have to give it to you. I'm not sure whether you're not greedy or you're just not ambitious.
Mind your business. Kama